Lately I've made a few videos about Deadlock, and one of my first impressions about the game was that the MOBA elements would prevent me from getting into the game long term, even though I was having fun. I figured at some point I'd hit an elo level that hard filtered me and made the game unenjoyable. While that is definitely still a possibility, I have been playing the game almost every day for about a month now, and it hasn't happened to me yet. Instead, something unusual happened. Lately I've found myself going about my day and getting an honest-to-God hankering to play Deadlock. Now, I'm sure everybody remembers being a kid and getting that feeling of wanting to skip school and rush straight home to play your favorite game. But I'm going to assume I'm not the only one who has felt that sort of pure motivation dwindling over the years. That's when I realized something very special about Deadlock. The game has absolutely no systems that explicitly encourage replayability. It's no secret that the tech industry at large is very interested in consumer psychology, including the games industry. These companies spend a lot of money to figure out how to make their products more addictive so that you spend more time and more money on their products. When looking at the games industry specifically, one of the huge problems in the industry right now is the over-reliance on extrinsic motivators to sell games and keep players playing them. The difference between extrinsic and intrinsic motivators is the source. Intrinsic motivators are personal. For example, food is intrinsically motivating because we get hungry and we get chemical satisfaction from eating. But there are also extrinsic motivators, like your grandma who thinks you're too skinny, or the limited menu item at McDonald's. These are examples of extrinsic motivation, or motivation that comes from outside of the self. Now if you take a look at any modern video game, you're going to find tons of these. Loot boxes, battle passes, daily login rewards. These are all factors to reward you for playing the game even when you don't want to. Have you ever found yourself logging into Counter-Strike on a Tuesday afternoon and playing for 2 hours just to get the crate? Is your favorite gacha game turning into a part-time job for you? Are you spending money on things you don't even want to keep finding new reasons to play a game you're already tired of? All of these negative interactions are due to extrinsic motivators and are a big part of why the industry is currently in so much trouble. It's not that adding these elements to a game is inherently wrong or makes them worse automatically, but they've become a part of the monetization scheme for all of these games. Almost every new live service game that comes out is launching with premium currencies, battle passes, loot boxes, and all of these features right out of the box before the game's even proven itself or acquired a fan base. Especially with so many high-profile examples of games failing right after launch, you have to wonder how much of a toll this mindset is taking on the development. How many of these games could have succeeded if their focus had been making a fun game instead of selling premium skins? How much longer can the industry milk these decade-old games and proven franchises before players get sick of it? This all brings us back to Deadlock and what makes it unique. Deadlock is free to play, there's no battle pass, no premium currency, and no skins. In fact, Deadlock doesn't have any monetization features at all. The game is released completely at a deficit to Valve. Moreover, Deadlock doesn't use any of the more wholesome extrinsic motivators like RPG elements, leveling, prestiges, and procedural generation. There's no XP, there's no level up. All of the abilities and characters are unlocked from the very start. Everything that's in the box comes out of the box immediately when you launch the game. The reward for coming back to play Deadlock again is simply the experience of getting to play Deadlock again. Now, releasing a live service game completely free to play with no monetization is not something every company can get away with, and I'm sure Valve has plans to eventually monetize Deadlock in some way or another, but it's interesting to look at the game as an experiment. Deadlock was released this way because it wasn't and still isn't complete. The game's in an alpha. A lot of the assets aren't finalized. Game systems are still being worked on. Major elements of the game system are being decided based on player feedback at this stage. For all intents and purposes, Deadlock is still in a state that a lot of companies wouldn't feel comfortable shipping a finished live service game. Instead of cynically monetizing this very early unfinished product, Valve is instead selling a player base. At whatever point Deadlock is considered a finished game, whether that be in a few months or a few years, the game already has a dedicated player base, something Valve achieved by releasing the game unfinished for free. Whatever money Valve sacrificed by releasing the game like this, they're more than making it back by building a dedicated player base who are invested in the story, characters, and world of Deadlock, who play the game and want to keep playing the game, and when they eventually monetize it, I'm sure these people will be lining up to buy skins or whatever else they come up with. While this definitely seems like a risky experiment with a new, untested IP, I think the industry at large should pay attention. What Deadlock proves here is that you don't need to rely on extrinsic motivators to build a dedicated player base. People come back to play this game because it's fun and they want to. This model shows faith in the product. Valve released the game like this because they know that people will want to play it, because they made a game that's fun. And that should be the focus. At the end of the day, gaming is a hobby. Most gamers play games to have fun, relieve stress, and enjoy their free time. Extrinsic motivation mechanics are not necessarily an obstacle to this ideal experience. Look at games like Fortnite that have thrived for years and years on this model. This is because beneath all of the arguably exploitative monetization and FOMO that Fortnite markets directly at impressionable children, they also have a fun game that constantly adds fresh and exciting new content. Say what you will about Fortnite, Epic, and Mr. Sweeney, the game is at the very least fun, and that is a shockingly low bar for live service games right now. To quote an expert on the subject, if the game is not fun,
why bother?